Good morning to all. Today we are going to see about EMF induced in a moving conductor. The conductor may be taken in the form of a loop. In that loop, we are going to induce the EMF. That induced EMF is going to derive based on that Faraday's laws. So for that closed loop we want to take on. That closed loop we are going to take on in that uniform shape. That one of the uniform shape of that closed loop is rectangular shape of that loop we are going to take on. That loop is going to place in our uniform magnetic field. There that loop in rectangular shape and its breadth side having a width is L. This loop is going to place in our uniform magnetic field, but that magnetic field is acting inwards to that plane of the board. For inward direction, how we can mention means with crossed symbol. So that's why crossed symbol is used for mentioning that inward magnetic field that has a certain strength of the magnetic field. That loops one part alone inside a magnetic field, remaining part is outside the magnetic field. There magnetic fields, magnetic induction can be taken as certain value that we mentioned, that is a B. That initial area of a loop inside a magnetic field we can describe based on that length and breadth. That width is nothing but breadth, that value is taken as L. And what length of that loop is inside a magnetic field means we assumed that is a X length is inside a magnetic field. Remaining length is outside the magnetic field. Initially, we are going to place the rectangular loop inside a magnetic field. Means the loop is at rest. At the initial position, the loop is at rest, and that loop occurs a certain magnetic field. That is, loop related to the certain magnetic field. That magnetic field is in terms of magnetic flux we are going to describe. Initial area we have, that is length into breadth we can take on. Anyhow, that is initially loop is at rest. Magnetic flux linked with the loop we are going to calculate. That can be symboled phi suffix B. According to our flux equation, want to find the total flux, so that's why we are using integration. Certain area, the flux is links, integral A, B vector dot, we are taken initially small part of that area, that's why dA vector. So that's why initially the loop is at rest. Part of that loop is inside a magnetic field, part of that loop is outside the magnetic field. Then the flux linked with that loop can be generally expressed as phi suffix B is equal to integral B vector dot dA vector. Here linking magnetic field induction remains constant, but we are taken areas, total area is a capital E, in that small part of that area is a dA. That's why integral B vector dot dA vector. Here, what is the angle between magnetic field direction to that normal to that plane of the area means there theta value is equal to 0. What is that? Theta means angle between B vector and dA vector. The two are act in the same direction. That's why theta is equal to 0 degree. And then phi suffix b equal to integral total area is A B dA cos theta. The theta value is 0 degree. We know that cos 0 is equal to 1. That's why this value becomes a 1. Then in that integral b remains constant. The area only we are going to add it. That's why from this we can take an pi suffix b is equal to b integral, that is total area is A into dA. So if you integrate total area inside the magnetic field of our loop is A. That's why pi suffix b is equal to BA. This area value you want to calculate. What shape of the area inside a magnetic field means rectangular shape of that area. We already mentioned the width of that loop is L, and what length of the loop is inside a magnetic field means X length. That's why based on that A value can be taken as L into X. That's why we are going to substitute here pi suffix b is equal to b into Lx. This is the initial flux linked with that loop. Now we are going to move the loop with a certain constant velocity. So we listen that the moving velocity is constant velocity v vector. If you want to apply a force to move that loop, that force we are going to apply it in this direction, because it want to move in a certain v velocity means there we want to apply a force. Suppose our applied force is F amount of force to move the loop with a constant velocity v vector. If we move the loop towards the right, what happens means part of the loops going to comes out. So if the loop is moved towards the right, then the magnetic field as well as the magnetic flux linked with that loop is going to decrease, because area in the magnetic field of the loop is going to decrease. If area in the loop, that is the area of the loop inside a magnetic field is decreases, flux linked with that loop also decreases. According to that Michael Faraday's law, there we have two Michael Faraday's laws for electromagnetic induction. First law, whenever there is a magnetic flux linked with the coil changes, then EMF is induced in it. That is the first law. Define the EMF. Okay. Next, measures the EMF. Magnitude of the induced EMF is equal to the rate of change of magnetic flux linked with that closed area. What amount of flux changes with respect to time, then that is equal to EMF induced in it. Anyhow, we can take an, if area inside the magnetic field decreases, then flux, that is magnetic flux, linked with the loop also decreases. Okay. area inside the magnetic field is decreases, then flux linked, magnetic flux linked with that also decreases. So according to our Michael Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction, whenever the magnetic flux linked with the coil changes, current is induced in it. Because of EMF induced, current also induced. That's why, so according to Faraday's law, current is induced in the loop. That is the Faraday's law's idea is, whenever there is a change in magnetic flux linked with the coil or loop, EMF is induced. That induced EMF can produce a induced current that can be flows. So in what direction the induced current is flows means opposing direction to the movement of that loop, the current may be induced. So for that, there if you move the loop towards the right, then the flux linked with that inward flux is linked with that loop is decreases. That's why the induced current also produce a inward flux. Based on that Lenz's law, or otherwise based on that right hand, we require to produce a inward flux. That thumb shows the inward direction means folding finger shows what direction means clockwise direction. That's why if you move the loop out towards the right, at the time flux changes can be produced a induced EMF. According to that Faraday's law, that induced EMF can be produced a induced current in that clockwise direction, either based on that Lenz's law or right hand folding directions, right hand thumb rule. Based on that right hand thumb rule, we can find the direction of that induced current is in clockwise. That's why we can mention induced current direction is clockwise. Based on that Lenz's law we can say. So anyhow, there the flux changes we have with respect to time that produce a induced EMF. According to Faraday's second law, we can express that EMF induced equation, that is E is equal to d by dt of dB. We know that value for that initial flux linked with that loop, d by dt of flux value is BL into X. In that differential we have three factors, but that magnetic induction and width of the loop remains constant. Which one only changes means length of the loop inside a magnetic field only changes when we pull the loop outwards. That's why E is equal to, that constants are taken out, BL dx by dt. So dx distance taken out of our loop in a dt time. So that's why displacement of that loop is dx displacement in a time. We know that displacement divided by time is nothing but a velocity. That's why we can mention dx by dt is equal to v. So E is equal to BL. Instead of dx by dt, we will mention the return velocity. This amount of EMF can be produced in that loop when we pull the loop out of our magnetic field. For that pulling out, we want to apply a certain force, F force, to pulled with a move with a constant velocity. The induced EMF is this. Due to the induced EMF, current may be produced in that loop. According to our Ohm's law, we have the Ohm's law formula in generally. Ohm's law is V is equal to IR. Like that, here we want to find the induced current. That's why EMF divided by resistance. This resistance we are going to take on, that is resistance of that loop. That loop has a certain length. That length provides a certain resistance. So that's why induced current I is equal to E by R. E is the induced EMF, R is the resistance of that loop. So for that we are going to substitute I is equal to E value already calculated BLB by R. This amount of current is induced in that loop when the loop is in that movable. If it is a stationary, whatever may be that flex links is remains constant. If flex links is remains constant, no EMF induced. When only we have induced EMF in that loop means induced current may be flows in that loop means whenever the magnetic flux linked with that loop is changes with respect to time, then only we have induced EMF as well as that induced current. That induced EMF at the time of moving E is equal to BLV. Because of that change in area, EMF induced E is equal to BLV. And there we have that induced current, that is I is equal to basically E by R. For that R is nothing but a resistance of that loop. Anyhow, we substituted current, we will get the direction of the current is clockwise. Based on that Lenz's law, we can say the direction of the current is in a clockwise. Anyhow, based on the Faraday's laws, EMF induced and the current is calculated. Then we are going to see about that energy conservation. Energy conservation. We have a law of conservation of energy. What is the statement of law of conservation of energy means? Energy neither created nor destroyed, can be changed from one form into another form. That we are going to see. For that, we will take on that same diagram. For verifying that energy conservation, we will take on that same diagram that we draw. One second, the diagram is loop. We have part of that loop is inside a magnetic field. We know that magnetic field is remains constant, that is uniform magnetic field. We know that width of that loop is L, and that loop is going to move towards the right with a constant v velocity. For moving the loop with a constant velocity, we want to apply a force in right direction. That applied force make a work done to take on the loop in right direction outward to that magnetic field. Anyway, applied force is equal to force induced inside that loop. What is the force induced in that loop means magnetic force. Magnetic force is acting on that part of the loop which is inside the magnetic field. Then that forces on that that is left side of that loop can be taken as F1. Upper part can be taken as F2, and the lower part force on that lower part of force may be taken as F3. So how we can mention the direction of that force means based on that current induced in that loop. So upper part current flow is towards the right and the magnetic field is inverse. Based on that Fleming's left hand rule, we will apply magnetic field inverse, current direction is towards the right, so that's why F2 force is acting upward direction. Similar manner, same Fleming's left hand rule is going to apply for that lower part, and we will find the direction of that F3 also. For that inward magnetic field towards the left, current is flows, that's why downward force is acting. So what happened that F2 and F3 means same current is flows, and that current carrying conductors length parts also same amount length, and magnetic field also same amount. That's why F2 and F3 are equal in magnitude and opposite direction. So their effective is 0. So that's why F2 and F3 are cancelled. F1 only that resultant magnetic force. That magnetic force is nothing but magnetic Lorentz force. We know that magnetic Lorentz force, that is F vector is equal to IL vector cross B vector. General formula magnetic Lorentz force. If it is taken as a deflecting force, FD vector is equal to IL vector cross B vector. Based on this formula, we will find that F1. If our applied force and that magnetic force are equal and opposite, then that loop can be moves in a constant velocity. Whatever may be that, our applied forces make a mechanical work done against the magnetic force. What amount of mechanical work done that we want to calculate? That mechanical work done is now we are going to turn in that rate of doing work. Rate of doing mechanical work by the applied force. The rate of doing mechanical work is nothing but a power. Then the power P is equal to, based on that velocity and force, we can take an F vector dot V vector, because power is a scalar quantity. We know that force and velocity are vector quantities. So force, applied force direction as well as the velocity directions are same. That's why here theta, that is angle between that force and the velocity, that is 0. If that is 0, then we are going to express in the P is equal to Fv cos theta. Then the theta is going to substitute as a 0. Then we know that cos 0 is equal to 1. If you substitute, we will get that P can be taken as F into V. That is the rate of doing work by our applied force. By applied force, rate of doing work is nothing but a power. Power value is taken as P is equal to F into V. In a unit time, what amount of work done, that can be taken as a power. That power we are going to derive. For that we are going to substitute that force value. Based on that magnetic Lorentz force, we will calculate that mechanical force. So how we can calculate that mechanical force based on that magnetic Lorentz force means, we know that if a loop is taken out with a constant v velocity, our applied mechanical force and magnetic force are equal and opposite. If you find the magnitude of that magnetic Lorentz force, that is equal to our applied mechanical force. So that's why we can relate our applied force and that magnetic Lorentz force as F1 vector equal to minus F vector. F is nothing but applied force. F1 is the magnetic force. The two vectors are equal in magnitude and act in opposite direction. Anyhow, now we are going to calculate that magnitude of that magnetic forces. Okay, that applied forces act in right direction means that deflecting force, magnetic Lorentz force act in towards that left. So that's why the magnetic force we can take an deflecting force FD vector is equal to, already we have taken that magnetic Lorentz force as IL vector cross B vector. So here the two are in a cross product. So for that FD is equal to, we can take an BIL sin theta. BIL sin theta. Here the deflecting force is, net force is only that F1 alone. That's why F1 is equal to BIL sin theta. So what happens that theta value? Force direction is acting, that is towards left, but we want to find the angle between current element and the magnetic field. On that left side current element, current is flowing in a upward direction, but the magnetic field is acting in inward direction. So that's why the angle theta is equal to 90 degree. This is theta is nothing but angle between IL vector and B vector. Theta is nothing but angle between IL vector and B vector. Between that two factors, angle is 90 degree. That's why F1 is equal to BIL sin 90. Sin 90 becomes 1. That's why we can take an F1 is equal to BIL. According to that Faraday's laws, in that moving loop, current is induced. That current induced we already calculated, that we are going to substitute in our equation. B into induced current is taken BLV by R into L. So finally F1 value is equal to B square L square V by R. So this is the magnitude of that magnetic Lorentz force act towards the left, but the loop is moving with a constant velocity. So that's why our applied force also same value. Applied force value can taken as a same value. So we know that, once again recall, F1 vector equal to minus F vector, but modulus of F1 vector equal to modulus of F vector. This is the magnitudes. That's why F is equal to B square L square V by R. This is the applied force. Based on that magnetic force, we can calculate that applied force value. That applied force value is, once again recall, F is equal to B square L square V by R. This applied force is going to substitute in our mechanical work done. That is rate of doing work. Rate of doing work is nothing but power. So that we know that power equation P is equal to F into V. We already taken in a vector form and got that value F into V alone. So here we are going to substitute F value. F value is nothing but B squared L squared V by R into V. So P is equal to B squared L squared V squared by R. We can take a common square, BLV whole squared by R. Otherwise we can take an E squared by R. This is the rate of doing mechanical work done by our applied force. This work done is what happen means, at the time of moving in a loop, current is induced. If current is flows in that loop, there we have a Joule's heating effect. If current induced in the loop, Joule's heating effect. Heating is produced. Joule's heating is produced. So that's why thermal energy is going to produced. So how we can produce the thermal energy means our mechanical energy going to becomes a thermal energy. So rate of producing a thermal energy we are going to tackle. The rate of producing thermal energy according to that Joule's law, we have the formula, heat producing formula, H is equal to I squared RT. I squared RT. Then T is taken left. H by T. That is nothing but the power. P is equal to I squared R. We know the induced current value. We have the expression for the induced current. Then if we substitute the induced current, P is equal to, instead of I, that is BLB divided by R, that is I square R. P is equal to I square R. That's why BLB divided by R whole square into R. If we simplify, we will get B squared, L squared, B squared divided by R only, because this R and in the square R, one R is cancelled. We will get that this is the equation to produce a rate of producing a thermal energy. And already given equation is rate of doing work done. We compare these two equations. This equation is rate of doing work by our applied force. That rate of doing our applied force by our applied force is equal to amount of heat energy produced per second. Based on these two equations, our mechanical work done is converted into heat energy. That's why energy can be converted from mechanical work done into thermal energy. Actually, in middle that mechanical work done produce electrical energy. Due to that flow of current inside the conductor, thermal energy is produced finally. That's why mechanical rate of doing a mechanical work done is equal to rate of producing a thermal energy. The two are equal and convert from one form to that another form. That's why that energy is conserved and can be formed, that is changed from one form into another form. Okay. So we have completed that motional EMF produced in a loop. That motional EMF is produced in our loop based on that Faraday's laws. At the same time, producing an induced EMF can be produced an induced current. And there we have a mechanical work done. That mechanical work done produced a thermal energy in our conductor. Produce a thermal energy in our conductor. Next, we are going to see that example problem 4.8. There we have a question. You take your book and you go through it. A conducting rod of length 0.5 meter. Conducting rod we are going to take on. That conducting rod length is taken 0.5 meter, half a meter, and falls freely from the top of that building of that height. So that's why we have a building. We are going to leave the rod, that is a lengthy rod, from that top of the building. That building has a certain height. That height value is 7.2 meter. from the 7.2 meter height building, we are going to leave the rod. That rod now it is called as a free falling object. What happens that the velocity, initial velocity of the free falling object means u is equal to 0. At the time of reaching a ground, it will reach us with a certain velocity, that is a final velocity v, and that rod is moved in a gravitational field. So that's why this rod is going to accelerate by gravity. So that's why this acceleration of that rod can be taken as a g. That value is given in our problem. G is equal to 10 meter second power minus 2. Anyhow, that at the time of moving the rod from the top of the building to that ground, that is moving in our earth magnetic field. That earth magnetic field value is given. Horizontal component of that earth magnetic field is 40,378.7 nanotesla. So from that we will calculate. You move that point 1, 2, 3, 4. That's why 4.03787 into 10 to the power. How many points we are moving? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's why already the nano means 10 to the power minus 9. Now we can take on minus 5 Tesla. So 4.03787 in 10 to the power minus 5 Tesla. That is the magnetic attraction. So how that rod is moving means in our problem perpendicular to the direction of that magnetic field. That's why that induced EMF is going to take on. That induced EMF is going to take on the formula E is equal to BLV. Here that velocity vector and magnetic field vectors are, that is angle between B vector and V vector is 90 degree. So that's why maximum EMF induced. Suppose if it makes any other angle means we want to take on E is equal to BLV sin theta. If theta is 90, sin 90 becomes 1. Then only we are going to take on E is equal to BLV. But in our derivation, already we are going to take on the loop is perpendicular to the magnetic field. So that's why that is sin theta is not taken, that value becomes 1. So anyhow, E is equal to induced EMF in that rod ends, E is equal to BLV. Here the direct value is BH value. That's why E is equal to, instead of B we can take on BH. Length of the rod we have. And velocity, final induced EMF only they are asking. That's why we want to know the final velocity. So it is a free fall object, initial velocity is 0. Want to find the final velocity. According to that equations of that motion, we have the final velocity equation v squared is equal to u squared plus 2as. We know that initial velocity is 0. That's why v squared is equal to 0 square plus 2 into acceleration is done by the gravity. That's why 2g, that the displacement is h. So v squared is equal to 2gh. Now we want to substitute the values. 2 into acceleration due to gravity is given, that is a 10. What height that rod is going to leave means 7.2 meter. So we can take an 2 into 72. 2 into 72, 144. That is v squared is equal to 144 meter square. So meter per second whole square. Anyhow, we want to calculate. We make a square root on both sides. Final velocity v is equal to 12 meter per second. If you multiply 12 into 12, we will get that 144. That's why we are taking square root on both sides. then the final velocity is 12 meter per second. This final velocity is going to substitute in our formula. E is equal to BHLB. BH value is given, that value is 4.03787 into 10 to the power minus 5, and length of the rod is 0.5 meter, that is 0.5 into velocity is 12. So if you multiply it, you will get that is a 6. So 4.03787 into 6 into 10 to the power minus 5. So you multiply that, 42, what is the 4, 56, 0, 6, 42 plus 6, 48, 4, then 18, 22, then we'll get that is a 24. So how many points? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is 24.22802 into 10 to the power minus 5. We will make some round off. That's why 24.23 into 10 to the power minus 5. That is EMF induced. EMF is measured in volt. Suppose that the power we can changes. That is equal to, if you move the point here, 242.3 into 10 to the power minus 6 volt. Then is equal to 242.3 microvolt is induced. EMF induced in the rod. Value is 242.3 microvolt. So if you take a rod at the height of that 7.2 meter height, if you leave which has the 0.5 meter length, and we are leaving that rod perpendicular to that earth horizontal component of magnetic field. At the time, in the end of the rod, EMF is induced because that rod is cutting that magnetic lines of force. When that number of lines cutting that rod at in a particular time, then EMF is induced according to that Michael's Faraday concept. The rate of magnetic flux we have, then EMF is induced. That EMF induced value is equal to 242.3 microvolt. So the problem 4.8 is completed. Okay, thank you for all. You go through our book about motional EMF from Faraday's laws and energy conservation. After that, you go through the problem 4.8. You go through the question in our book very clearly. Then you use that idea to calculate that EMF induced. That EMF induced value is, final value is 242.3 microvolt. Thank you for all.